I'm Francois Desjardins at the Faculty of Education here at UOIT, and my principal area of interest, I hate to say research, my principal area of interest is online learning, and most specifically mobile learning, but actually anything within the e-learning aspect is where I love to play. And in actual fact, in the past few years I've only been teaching in a fully online environment, so I'm not only liking liking it as a focus of research, but it's also my place of play or of practice, if you want, in terms of my own teaching. What my research involves is I'm very keenly interested in the whole idea of how pedagogy needs to and is starting to evolve because of, or in spite of, the idea of moving education in the technological world. So it's not about dragging technologies into the classroom anymore. What I'm really interested in is how is the mindset shifting from educators' perspective. I don't want to just say teachers, because it transcends the K-12 system. It goes into the adult learning, corporate learning, industrial learning, and how the idea of learning being completely transformed by the fact that it's no longer about going to see somebody who's going to give you something, but it's about using this mobile technology, if you want, to access anywhere, anytime, not only information, but other people, and how that changes the mindset of how the concept of education is moving into this online world, much like the rest of the online world is changing the way we've created a parallel society, a parallel community, except in education we still tend to only address the physicality or the physical real world. We're just starting to address the whole idea of community and the idea of communications and the idea of society, the idea of learning in that digital environment. I've always been very much of an amateur of science fiction, and the reason for that is because I always saw it as what fascinated me about science fiction was that ability to look into the future and to where are we headed, where are we going. And since education to me is all about preparing somebody for something that is going to happen, and like I keep telling every one of my students, there's only two things I'm sure of in life. A, tomorrow's going to be different to today, and B, I have no idea what it's going to look like. Therefore, how can I pretend to prepare you for anything that I don't know what it's going to be? So what really excites me is the fact that you're always trying to predict, you're always trying to look out for preparing for something that is going to be. So it's that idea of always looking forward and not just looking back. And looking forward is I find so exciting, because it's always going to be new. I'm always learning something. Education cannot prepare a next generation for what was. We can't even prepare the next generation for what is. We have to prepare them for what will be. And since we don't know what that is, we have to prepare them for adaptability. We have to prepare them for change. And even if we're talking about adult learning and so on and so forth, and even if we're talking about training for current jobs and so on and so forth, we're still training, educating people to be adaptable, to be able to come up with solutions to problems we haven't even figured out exist yet. And I think the biggest contribution that I can make to that is to constantly push that envelope of, okay, this is the way things are being done now. How is that going to change? What can we do to be prepared for that change? How can we think outside the box, because the box is going to change?